Hi, I'm Allison Howard. Today's yoga video is going to be a Hatha yoga sequence for vision and audition, or your sense of hearing. So today we will be tuning into our drishti, our gaze. We'll be observing our own tendencies of gaze, and we'll be listening to the sounds around us and the sounds of our own breath. I will put an optional Spotify playlist down in the comments below if you would like to practice along with that playlist. It includes both some music and some periods of silence, so you might try the practice with or without it. We use a couple of blocks for this practice, in fact just one block, a pretty sturdy block, but you can use a cork block, a foam block, or a nice fat book would be just fine. So grab your props, get the playlist going if you want, get your mat, and let's get started. We will begin this practice standing in a Tadasana pose, mountain pose. You can begin at the top of your mat and start to ground down through the feet, noticing the points of contact between the feet and the mat below you. Keep a soft bend to the knees so that you're not locking the knees out. Keep circulation flowing through the legs. And you can rock back and forth until you find a nice steady place to rest, the center of your gravity, your balance here. You can lengthen the tailbone down toward the ground beneath you. Shine the palms of your hands forward in space. Lengthen your shoulder blades down your back. Open between the collarbones. Lengthen through the back of the neck. And shine the crown of the head toward the ceiling above you. And from here, I invite you to allow your eyes to softly close, or simply find a soft gaze down toward the ground in front of you. A soft gaze by allowing your focus to soften, as if you were looking at something in front of the floor in front of you, or beneath the floor and beyond the point where you gaze, so that your focus blurs and you aren't gazing too intently at any particular thing around you. If your eyes are closed, you may still notice the sensation of sight. Light from beyond the eyelids, or geometric shapes and shifting colors behind the closed eyelids. What's interesting about sight, many things interesting about sight. What's interesting is that even with closed eyes, our retinas create just as much information, just as much electrical signaling as they do with eyes open. Attempt to expand your gaze from the space behind your eyelids to a space slightly above and around and behind that space. As if you could gaze the backs of your eyelids from a space farther away. Notice sounds around you. the sound of my voice, sounds from the room where this video plays. Take a swallow inside the mouth and notice the sound from within. As we move through our practice today, I invite you to notice these changes of sound and color, these floating sensations, and how they make contact with you and your practice on the mat. You can blink your eyes open. You can open them just slightly and try and keep a soft gaze. You can keep them closed. On an inhale, reach your arms out and up overhead. And exhale, hands come to touch and pull them down through the midline in front of the heart space. Inhale, arms reach out and up and come to touch overhead. Exhale, hands down through heart center. Inhale, arms out and up. And exhale, down to the heart. Take an inhale, reach your arms out and up. Keep the arms up and overhead. Wrap the fingers, the first finger and the thumb around the outside of your right wrist. And gently bend over to your left side, using the strength of the right arm to gently pull on the left wrist. Take an inhale, come up through center. Change out the loop of the wrists. Inhale for length, and exhale to bend down toward your right side. Inhale, come up through center, and exhale, hands come down through the heart space. Take an inhale, reach arms out, around, and up. And exhale, pivot your gaze around and to your left. Open arms behind and in front of you. Inhale, both arms up through center. And exhale, open to the other side. Inhale, up through center. Exhale, open arms toward your left. Gaze to the left. Inhale, arms through center. Maybe gaze up toward your thumbs. And exhale, open arms toward your right. Inhale, arms through center, gaze up. And exhale, hands come down through the heart. Take an inhale, reach both arms up and overhead. Exhale, bend at the hips, fold forward, hands come down to the ground beneath you. As we move through these half sun salutations, I want you to notice where your gaze naturally seems to fall. Does your gaze naturally fall forward toward the front edge of the mat? Do you gaze down toward the toes? Do you turn the chin in and gaze up toward the navel? Part of this natural gaze can come with training. Ashtanga training works with the gaze very specifically. If you can, loosen the gaze and allow it to float where it naturally tends to go.
Take an inhale, halfway lift. Hands come to shins, shoulder blades down the back. And exhale, fold in again. Inhale, reach all the way up to stand. Arms up overhead. And exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, bend forward. Forward fold. Inhale, half lift, hands to shins. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms up, stand. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, up. Exhale, hinge. Inhale, half lift. Observe your gaze. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, come all the way up to stand. Exhale, hands to heart. Pause here. You can allow the eyes to fall shut. And peer at your own gaze from the inside. Listen to the rhythm of your breath. Tune in to these internal and external points of focus. Sounds and sights around you in the world, and sounds and sights that come from within. Take an inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold forward, hands down to the mat. Step your feet back to the back of the mat. Press your hips up and back. Downward facing dog. Notice your gaze, both the visual gaze and your auditory attention. Notice. Lift your right heel high above the hips, extending back behind the back body. And exhale, bring the right foot in between the hands. Heel comes down, toes come down, grip the mat. Lower the left knee down. Inhale, come up, low lunge, Anjaneyasana. And on your next inhale, reach your arms up and overhead, hands come together above the head, and manipulate the gaze, look up toward your thumbs. Inhale here. Exhale, hands down, downward facing dog. Bend generously into the knees and reach the hip points. In your mind's eye, up and toward the ceiling. Lift your left heel up, back behind you, outside of your vision. And exhale, bring the left heel in between the hands. Lower your right knee down and come up, low lunge. On your next inhale, reach arms up and overhead. Palms of the hands touch above your head. And lift your gaze to your thumbs. Take a long breath in. Exhale, hands down. Step your left foot back, downward facing dog. In your mind's eye, wrap your shoulder blades outward and around toward the front of your body. Press weight into the heels of your hands. Listen to the sound of your heart or your breath. Inhale, lift your heels, bend your knees, look in between your hands, and step the feet up to the point where you're looking. Inhale, come all the way up to stand. Inhale, arms reach up, fold forward. Inhale, half lift. Observe your own gaze. Exhale, hands come down, step to plank. Manipulate your gaze again here in plank. Look forward beyond the front edge of your mat. Come onto the knife edge of your right foot, the inner edge of your left foot. Inhale, lift your left hand to the sky and gaze up at the left hand. Exhale, left hand down, back to your toes. Come onto the knife edge of your left foot, inner edge of your right foot. Lift your right hand to the sky, gaze up at the right hand. Exhale, right hand down. Come to your toes, press back, downward facing dog. Lift your right heel up and away out of your own vision. Bend your right knee toward your back body and open your right hip. Gaze under your right armpit. Listen to your breath. And right toes back to the mat. Inhale, left heel up, out of your vision. Bend your left heel toward your back. Open the left hip. Gaze under the left armpit. Listen to your breath. Left toes come back down to the mat. Press back. Knees come down. Child's pose. In your child's pose, allow your eyes to fall shut. And bring your observations inside. Press weight into your hands. Come to sit up on your heels. And come to stand. Turn to face the long edge of your mat. Step feet wide apart. Spread arms laterally toward the short edges, both top and bottom of the mat. Turn your right toes toward the short edge of the mat. Your right knee is straight. Turn your left toes in slightly. Bring your right hand forward in space and down to your shin, to a block, or maybe to the ground. Inhale, your left fingertips reach to the sky.
Notice the natural inclination of your gaze. Whether that gaze's natural inclination comes as a result of training that says when I'm in triangle, I look up, or what's comfortable for the neck, or for the eyes, or for the mind. Notice. From here, bend generously into the right knee. Your hand can come to your left hip. Bring your right hand forward. You can bring the block with you if you're using it. Bring it forward of your right foot a few inches. Step your left toes in about a foot and begin to bring weight into your right heel of your hand. From here, you'll shift weight into the right foot and slowly, with intention, lift the left heel up and off of the mat. You might like to lift the left arm. You might like to manipulate the gaze. Manipulate your intention, your attention. Your gaze can go down to the floor, straight out in front of you, up towards your lifted hand. You might close your eyes. And exhale, gently lower the left foot down to the mat. Come out. Step your feet out wide on the mat again. Maybe bring your block around to the opposite side of your mat. Turn your right toes in slightly. Pivot on your left heel. Left toes face the short edge of the mat. Arms extend out long. Left hand comes forward in space and then down to your shin, to a block, or to the floor. Right fingertips toward the sky. Again, notice your gaze. If you manipulate the gaze, notice how the rest of the body follows, how alignment of the hips or the spine might shift slightly as your gaze moves. Exhale your right hand to your hip. Step your right foot forward about a foot. You can bend generously into your left knee. Bring your left hand forward of your left foot. Begin to transfer weight into the sole of the left foot, lifting on to the right toes. Right shoulder, left shoulder directly above left wrist, and lifting the right toes off of the mat. You might extend right fingertips to the sky. And from here, you can change the point of focus. You can pay attention, you can attend to any element of your experience here. Take an inhale. Listen to the sound of your inhale. Exhale, right hand to right hip. Bend left knee, right toes. Come back to the mat and stand.
Come to stand at the top of your mat. Bring hands to hips. Sink weight into the sole of the right foot. Lighten the weight in your left sole. You might like to experiment with closing the eyes here and noticing the quality of this movement with eyes closed. As you lighten the weight in your left toes, begin to hinge the front body forward and step the left toes back toward the back edge of the mat. Inhale, reach both arms up overhead. Palms of the hands come to touch above the head. Gaze up toward your thumbs. From here, you can bring your hands down through heart center, following the thumbs as they move with the gaze. Hinge your heart halfway forward, lighten the weight in your left toes, firmly grip the mat with your right foot, and come up, warrior 3. Strongly engage the outer hips and notice the alignment of your hips in your mind's eye. Try to maintain a level pelvis in this pose. Take an inhale. And exhale, left foot comes to join the right. Hands come down to hips. Again, you might like to close your eyes and notice the sensation of this movement with eyes closed. Ground into your left sole of your foot. Lighten the weight in your right foot. Begin, hands come to heart center. Begin to hinge yourself forward. Step your right toes back toward the back edge of the mat. And inhale, both arms up overhead, crescent lunge. Hands come to touch above the head. Lift your gaze to the thumbs overhead. Inhale here. On your next exhale, follow the thumbs with your gaze as they descend through the midline to heart center. Shift your torso forward, bring weight into the left foot, lift the left heel off of the mat. Perceive in your mind's eye the alignment of your left and right hip. Extend energetically out through the right heel. Take a long inhale. And exhale, right foot down beside the left. From here, bring weight into your right foot and lighten the weight in your left. Externally rotate your left leg and bring the sole of the left foot up onto the inner right leg at any point that feels stable for you. Stable and comfortable. Bring your belly button in, your pubic bone up toward your face. Tailbone lengthens down. Hands can come together in front of the heart. Soften the gaze.
so that you aren't focusing on any single point too intently. If you like, you can experiment with closing the eyes. If you fall out of this pose, allow it to happen. And exhale, release. We'll take that on the other side, ground down into your left foot. Lighten the weight in the right, externally rotate the right leg, and bring the right foot up onto the inner left thigh at some point that feels comfortable and steady. Bring your hands to your heart center. Press the foot into the leg and the leg back into the foot. Pubic bone presses up toward navel. Tailbone lengthens down. Soften your gaze. And perhaps close the eyes. Again, if you fall, just allow it to happen. And exhale, release. Shake that out. Come down onto the mat. Extend your right leg out long and take your left foot over your right leg. If you like, you can bring this right leg, right heel back to the left hip. I'm going to take this with my leg extended out in front of me. Hug the knee in toward the chest. Bring your left hand behind the back. Lift up through the crown of the head. Create length through the spine. And then turn the gaze around behind you. And as you turn your gaze, perhaps deepen the twist in your spine. Feeling the belly pull in your mind's eye. Feeling the belly pull in and around, spiraling in this twist posture. Unwind. Extend your left leg out long. Hug right knee in. Cross the right knee over the left. Hug the knee toward the chest. Bring your right hand behind the back. Lengthen up through the crown of the head. Create as much length in the spine as you can. And then turn your gaze around toward your right shoulder. As you turn your gaze, feel in the mind's eye the belly, the back, the core, as it creates the deepening of this twist. And exhale, release. Extend your legs out long. Lie down onto your back. Hug both knees in toward your chest. Take a deep breath. Extend your left leg long again toward the top edge of the mat. And bring your right knee over and across the body toward your left. Your left hand can rest on the top of your right knee. Notice the natural inclination for where you'd like to place your literal gaze in this moment. Do you incline to close your eyes, to gaze up toward the ceiling, to gaze over
your right shoulder or your left shoulder. And then notice your natural inclination for where you place your figurative gaze, your attention, your cognitive effort and thought. Unwind. Extend right leg long, hug left knee into the chest. Gently tug your left knee across the body. Allow the right hand to rest on the top of the left knee. And notice your gaze. Tune in to what you hear. In both a literal and figurative sense, observe the sound and the color, the sights, in this moment. And come back through center. Extend left leg. Open the palms to the sky. And as you feel ready, press yourself up to a seat. Hands to your knees or to heart center or on top of the front body. Allow your eyes to fall shut. Take a long inhale and listen to the sound of your own breath. And release. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. It's been a joy and a pleasure. Thank you.